Dr. Rex's experiments caused these zombies to evolve on their own, while Vanguard Company, a mercenary group researching the Z virus, accidentally released it, unleashing an outbreak of zombies at the lab. David Black and Erika, allies of the AFC, used Norman's rescue as a chance to gain access to the Vanguard Company's research on the virus.
However, the AFC was not the only organization after the zombie virus research. It was the government. While publicly warning the dangers of the virus and pretending to stop it, behind the scenes, they were running research into enhancing it. Their goal was to master it and use it to create super soldiers. The government sent troops to take care of the remaining zombies in the lab, recovered the research materials from the panic room, as well as some of the Norman's body parts. It was a simple mission: deliver these samples to the transport team at the checkpoint. But during the retrieval process, one of the team members became infected, leading the dropship crash landing. The survivors barely made it to the checkpoint. And as they were loading the samples onto their transport train out, a Yeti appeared and stole the samples. Where did this Yeti come from? And how did they know to steal the sample? It was yet another scheme of Dr. Rex, the man responsible for the zombie outbreak. Dr. Rex's influence led to more people researching the zombie virus, with Dr. Rex eager to get his hands on the results. Finally, government insiders, paid off by Dr. Rex, betrayed the team traveling with the samples, allowing the Yeti to swoop in and steal them. Gerard, the transport team leader, quickly hunted down the Yeti with anti-zombie equipment and then recovered the stolen samples. After a series of twists and turns, Gerard retrieves the research materials for his appointment at the government lab, only to be greeted by Dr. Rex's newest zombies. What he thought was an allied base turns out to be Dr. Rex's new lab. Caught off guard by this ambush, Gerard and his troops attempted to escape via helicopter, only to have it crash land due to sudden bad weather. The helicopter crashed into the lab, collapsing the lab's exterior wall. Seeing the destroyed interior, Jared enters the lab, enraged at his attackers while looking for a new means of escape. Dr. Rex believed the enemy troops were dead, when in fact, they were actually headed for him. Amidst the massive lab, questions emerged over just who was backing Dr. Rex to grant him such resources. It had to be more than just a few money-minded turnclocks in the government. It seemed that the zombie research was alive and well, with many different species of zombies roaming the lab, along with one giant monster standing in their way. Escaping the lab after taking care of the beast in their way, they have a hunch that Dr. Rex may be the one behind all these zombie research. He couldn't let the criminal of the century get away with this. The team follows his trail to the facility near the lab, and what they learn was no surprise. Inside this facility, Dr. Rex reveals the whole truth. He explains that it was he, not the government, who ordered him to retrieve the sample, one of many research materials to aid in his experiments. The crew was always destined to be wiped out upon delivery. The zombie outbreak was merely a side effect of a super soldier virus that the government was working on and seen as a necessary evil for the betterment of humanity. He had only one goal: the creation of super soldiers using the Z virus, and for that, he was willing to sacrifice even his own adopted daughters to achieve it. Rex sent his 2 daughters to take care of the crew, who, unlike other monsters, were not only human-like in appearance, but still retained their sanity. But sane or not, a zombie is still a zombie. Both sisters were eventually killed. Gerard and his men pursued Dr. Rex as he fled to another secret laboratory. Their weapons were beyond his expectations, and he was unaware of the fact that they were the work of Dr. Soy, Dr. Rex's former lead researcher. As they entered the lab, destroying any research materials before them, Dr. Rex showed himself. Finally cornered, the doctor injected himself with the virus, the culmination of all his research. He transformed into a giant monster, stronger than any the team had ever seen, as unstable as he was powerful. After a life or death battle, Gerard and his men finally succeeded in killing Dr. Rex and burning the lab to the ground. The death of the men who kicked off the zombie apocalypse was widely covered by the media that the world was now safe. But not from the unstoppable greed of humans. What the media failed to expose was that there was an even greater force behind the slain Dr. Rex. After Dr. Rex's death, everything about the Super Soldier Project was gradually erased. Media coverage, research institutions, people, and records of all companies involved were deleted. Those who had gained new abilities from the experiments were secretly managed by the government. But with the virus already being researched by various organizations, and with Dr. Rex's patrons already controlling those organizations, government regulation was pointless. Outwardly, the global superpowers preached for peace, but behind closed doors, virus research continued, and reports of the virus's damage were suppressed. Dr. Soy, formerly Dr. Rex's lead researcher and now the head of Aegis Institute, hired new staff members to prepare for any future catastrophes, including Jennifer and Dominic, two super soldiers awakened by Dr. Rex's experiments. Just as they were settling into their new lives, Jennifer received a mysterious letter. It read, "Dr. Rex lives," followed by a specific set of coordinates. Jennifer brought this to Dr. Soy's attention, and Dr. Soy, puzzled by the mysterious death of Dr. Rex, dispatched Jennifer with a bodyguard. On their way to the coordinates for the abandoned city, their helicopter crashed after being attacked by a swarm of bugs, leaving Jennifer and her group with no means of returning home. Jennifer decided to continue her journey to meet Dr. Rex. Her team eventually made it to the coordinates. Jennifer and her group were shocked by what they saw. Laser Wing, a zombie fused with an insect, capable of human speech. After engaging Jennifer, the insect zombie told her that if she followed him, he would lead her to the truth about the Super Soldier Project. However, that promise proved empty when a surprise bullet killed Laser Wing. After the search for Laser Wing's assassin, Jennifer came face to face with a mysterious giant zombie who, to her surprise, greeted her as Jack. He seemed to know Jennifer, but was disappointed that Jennifer had lost her memory. He disappeared, promising to help her restore her memories. Using an emergency transmitter, Jennifer's team locates Jack and makes it to the underground facility, but are quickly knocked out by an explosion. The shock of the explosion triggered Jennifer's memories of Jack, a fellow reporter who had worked with Jennifer undercover to expose Rex's laboratory. The two had been kidnapped and experimented on during their investigation, but they never gave up hope of escape, eventually managing to do so. But only Jennifer made it out of the gate, as Jack was blown away in a sudden explosion. Jack vented his frustrations at Jennifer as she woke up, but he was no match for her awakened super soldier abilities. On the verge of death, Jack gave Jennifer advice one last time in honor of their bond. There are other enemies they should be fighting. Jennifer heard a voice on the dead Jack's radio looking for him. Believing that the voice was sent by the same person who turned him into the zombie, she sets out for the radio signal's origin. The voice turned out to be Dr. Soy, the head of the Aegis Institute, and Jennifer's employer. Dr. Soy explained that she had sent Jack, who was close to Jennifer, to recruit her for the project, but that Jack's misjudgment had caused the meeting to go south. An experiment called Chronobotics suddenly attacked Jennifer and Dr. Soy, and after defeating it, Jennifer boarded an Aegis Institute helicopter with Dr. Soy, who told her to follow her if she wanted to know the truth. Suspecting that there might be a spy inside the lab, and unsure of who to trust, Dr. Soy decided to tell Jennifer the story of the real enemy. Just as Jennifer was about to hear the truth from Dr. Soy, drones from the company Kronos and its Chrono Wing attacked their helicopter, while killing anyone who stood in the way of their plans. Kronos had been tracking Dr. Soy, who had discovered their true identity. Jennifer narrowly escaped their ambush, but their helicopter crash-landed as its fuel tanks were destroyed. Her team found an abandoned military facility, where they tried to contact the Institute. Just as Dr. Soy repaired the transmitter, Chrono Wing reappeared in front of them. Jennifer defeats Chrono Wing in a life-or-death struggle and resumes her unfinished business with Dr. Soy. Dr. Soy told her that Dr. Rex's death was not the end, that there was another man behind it all, Douglas Jacob, the head of Kronos, and that she needed Jennifer's help to fight him. The mastermind that's been running the labs since Dr. Rex's death is revealed, and their allies begin to converge on Douglas, ready to fight. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to hear more about these zombie scenarios. To be continued.